Hello internets. Last couple of years we've been on a bit of a roller coaster with engines. Nova Rossi were very good and then stopped making engines. We've had a few different engines over that time. Most are very good, but lots of people have got a favourite OS based engines, and we've not had anything in the range. Specifically SPecII with a 21J carb, which a lot of people who follow OSs and run different OSs have preferred SPecIIs to SPecIIIs, Type S's, Type R's and all the other OSs. We've tried a few different ways to get versions of OSs, and then finally kind of remembered Rody Roem, who we used to know in the days of RB engines going back 10 years. He was the guru of RB, being the Roddy of RB. He then moved on to Techno Power and then started his own project, VS, World Champion Products, Rody Roem Engines, working with OS, and had them make a SPecII with a 21J carb that he cuddled and improved even further. Not hand modifying, but talking nicely to OS and ordering enough engines for them to make what he wanted. Being somebody who knows more than the vast majority of people about engines, he pioneered the bi-turbo crankshaft, so it had two turbo scoops on the crankshaft to mix the fuel and the air a bit more and combust a bit better. And he's carried this through to this VS Racing engine. So I think we've kind of ended up with probably the best version of a SPecII we could imagine. Indeed, it's basically what I'd have asked OS to build, except he's included a bi-turbo crank. It's also quite pretty, and like every OS, comes in kind of best storage bag. Not that that really matters unless you're incredibly geeky. It's orange, which is very retro RB, that was always orange. It's kind of a nice throwback. So yeah, they're quite good. I was meaning to do this video last week, but they came in on Monday. I spoke to a few people who ordered them, and they spoke to a few more people and spoke to a few more people, and we sold out within no time. And then we ordered more, and FedEx took a week to deliver rather than 24 hours, so they're now here, and we're ploughing through, running them in and sending them out again. But I've actually got an engine I can sit here and chat to you about. So, pretty thing. And one taken apart, which I'll just, well, I say taken apart, it's also been put back together slightly. So let me take piston and liner out. Let me just go and get a piston puller. Hold on. Sorry, liner puller I mean. These are actually incredibly handy. We used to sell them a couple of different versions. The first one was good, but not strong enough. And then the second one was better, but it was later discontinued. And it really only worked on OS engines because it was a very specific bore. So Rody's effectively done a 5-port SPecII, which 3-port can be a bit aggressive. The 5-port's just a little bit smoother than a 3-port with equal runtime, and smoother, although it's a little bit more boring, is easier to drive because you can go round without doing crazy things. Smoother, more progressive, just a bit easier to live with. and it's got pistons vary between flat and domed, and again, which one's better, not sure, but flat generally works. Roddy thinks it is the best, so he's probably right. And then he's also done little things like on the head button, it's got the O-ring on it, which some engines have. Rossi Mephistos, some Reds. I've never seen an OS with it on there, and it doesn't make that much difference, but there's no reason not to have one. It just keeps the dirt from getting between the head button and the crankcase, and it's really a no-cost option. An O-ring costs nearly zero, and all it needs to make it fit is machining a groove into that for the O-ring to recess into. So it's like a shiny thing that's been polished a bit more. And then this bi-turbo crank, which you can see you've got two turbo scoops, one there, one there. Can you see it? Yeah, I think you can. I can see it on the camera. I can't actually explain to you how much difference it makes because I'm not Roddy and I didn't invent it. But every engine that he ever designed that had it was notably good. The WS7 II was legendary at the time. And it was his idea, and most engine manufacturers have been polite enough to not actually steal it, unlike lots of other RC manufacturers that borrow concepts from other manufacturers. So it's good to see it follow through, and we trust Rody, and he's good at things. And then a 21J carb, which is not revolutionary, but it's nigh on perfection. For 21 off-road engines, it works, it's stable, it's predictable, it does straightforward things. You can't argue with it. Lots of people fit it to other engines if they have a problem. The default option is to fit an OS carb to it. It also has a blue OS bearing in it, which again is considered to be best front bearing. Apart from maybe the Nova Rossi double front sealed bearing, which they patented, closed down, so it's no longer available. Hold on, let me pass the phone over. Good in. So yeah, we've got stock of them. They're very good. They're an OS with a Roddy logo on there. 2135 pipe is considered the best pipe for OS engines, and the Roddy version of it. So yeah, we've got them in stock. We're continually just breaking them in. Every time we break one in, we break another one in. So you don't actually need to wait for us to break one in, usually, unless we end up with a backlog of them at the moment. So yeah, maybe a good solution for lots of people. There's also lots of good other engines out there, but this is also perfectly good. Cheers, guys.